Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Tariq Radio. Glad to have everybody tuning in. Ready to chop up game like we always do. So go let everybody know that we're live right now, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Tariq Radio. We're going to take a real quick commercial break while everybody pile in the room. So y'all don't move a muscle, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back, right here on Tariq Radio.
Yo, you still ain't getting women? Really? Come on, son. You need to go to badboymembership.com and step up your game. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game, and I'm telling you that if you really want to attract beautiful women, you need to go to badboymembership.com. This is where you get 45 through 90-minute step-by-step dating advice tutorials every month. Just sign up, follow the advice, and you'll get the woman you want. Go to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.
You need to get your Second Amendment game up right now. That's why you need to check out my friends at RedstoneFirearms.com. They are a black-owned gun training and gun selling operation, and they have two locations right out here in Southern California. They have one in Burbank, and they have a location in Ontario. So get your Second Amendment game in order. Get your gun training in order. Go to RedstoneFirearms.com right now. Also, check them out on Instagram at Redstone Firearms. Check them out on Facebook at Redstone Firearms. So get your Second Amendment game up right now with a black-owned company, RedstoneFirearms.com.
I want to empower you with some knowledge. Read a good book and I got it. By Neo K. Marcellus. I could tell you all about it. The Tower Becoming a Lady or a Gentleman, a letter series. I want the whole world to hear me. These are the principles of self-mastery. You are in control of your own path and your own destiny. I know this for sure. So many things that'll have you questioning. Recognizing deception in. Make sure that you get the book. Once again, I just had to mention it. The Tower of Becoming a Lady or a Gentleman. That's right. Of letter series, yes indeed, I highly recommend. Make sure that you buy it. Make sure that you get it. Written by Neo K. Marcellus. The Tower Becoming a Lady or a Gentleman. That's right. Of letter series, yes indeed, I highly recommend. Make sure that you buy it. Make sure that you get it. Written by Neo K. Marcellus. Make sure that you get it on Amazon.com today. The Tower Becoming a Lady or a Gentleman of letter series.
What's up, family? On Code Clothing is the official uniform of the movement that we call Black Empowerment. They've empowered so many people for so long. Now it's time for us to make the empowerment the new global trend. On Code is a brand that's exclusive and not for general consumption. You dig? You gotta be codified to even appreciate this thing of ours. So get the fly summer gear at OnCodeClothing.com. Use the discount code HC5 at checkout and save an additional 10% when you purchase 2 or more items. So go to OnCodeClothing.com. Ladies, are you looking for a 100% natural hair product that stimulates growth and provides all-day moisture and promotes healthy hair? Then go to BeardTreeOilAndHerbs.com because they present Natural Spaces. That's a plant-based hairline that includes hair oil, hair wash, hair balm, hair conditioner, hair detox, and hair mist. Order the complete package just for $75, or you can build your own package. To place an order, go to BeardTreeOilAndHerbs.com. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Beard Tree Oils and Herbs. Yo, family, there's a new podcast you need to check out called Black Wall Street Chronicles. Black Wall Street Chronicles is hosted by Jeffrey Frazier. He's an up-and-coming comedian who's paying homage to his great-grandfather who comes from Durham, North Carolina. You can follow his podcast on iTunes or Spotify. There are new episodes every week. For new episodes and for more information and to check out the podcast website, go to blackwallstreet.buzzsprout.com. That's blackwallstreet.buzzsprout.com. Check out The Cookie Confidant. These are some delicious cookies from a black-owned cookie company down there in Houston, Texas. The Cookie Confidant's motto is you deserve premium, and with that being said, all of their cookies are made with high-quality ingredients. I've had these cookies myself. They are delicious, delicious, delicious. You need to go check them out on Instagram at Cookie Confidant, and also check out their website, cookieconfidant.com, and order you a batch right now.
The year is 2079. The futuristic nation of New Albion has been created to maintain a new racial apartheid system. There is a planned genocide that is going to target the nation's black population. A small group of black revolutionaries band together to launch guerrilla warfare attacks against their oppressors. Do they fail, or do they succeed? Find out the answer by reading the book Avoid the Machines, the new novel by author Scotty Vasco. Avoid the Machines, now available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
You are now tuning into the legendary Tariq Nasheed
I gave a little blood on that bridge in Selma.
on Tariq Radio.
I said, whoever threw that paper, your mom's a hoe.
Yo, we're back. What's going on, guys? Late night broadcast. Shout out to the late night crew tonight. We're in here, ready to chop up game as we always do. I hope everybody has their Hidden Colors 5 DVDs at hiddencolorsfilm.com. That's where you can get the critically acclaimed Hidden Colors Film.com. You can get Hidden Colors 5, ladies and gentlemen. And everybody in the room right now on YouTube, I would like for you guys to hit that like button. Hit the like button. And let's get this thing popping tonight, because we're going to have a very, very good conversation on the Late Night Creep here on Tariq Radio. First thing I want to talk about, did y'all see the clip? And I put this on my social media. This happened in Chicago. As we know, there's a lot of instances of Asian nail shop owners disrespecting and attacking black women. Unfortunately, a lot of sisters will still go to these shops the next damn day. I just don't understand that dynamic, but there's so many instances of these Asian nail shop owners and workers. Just every other week we see some funny style stuff, and people protest. You know, some people handle it different. Some of these shops get closed down, like the one out there in Brooklyn. The brothers and sisters out there, shout out to Jazz, the brothers and sisters shut that one down. And a lot of times when these anti-black Asian store owners who capitalize off the black market, that's their only market. We're the ones who are founding, or we're economically funding these folks. You know, a lot of them get disrespectful and they try to put hands on the sisters. So they did that in Chicago. They were warned, and a brother came through like, hey, enough talking. I'm not going to be talking at y'all. So this brother went to the store, went to the shop and said, hey, all y'all people here, y'all women coming up in here, y'all need to back up. If you're not going to leave, you got a choice. Either leave or get away from the window. And this brother went outside, got some bricks, and started busting the windows out. Bust out all the front windows of the store and said, okay, I ain't about to run. All right, come arrest me. And got arrested. He was prepared, and the community actually bailed him out. Brother Tyrone Muhammad, I think that's his name. But the brother was dead ass serious. Now, there's a lot of mixed reaction. A lot of people are championing that, but then you got some people like, oh, Lord, their eyes are bucking. Oh, Lord, you's gonna get in trouble. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But the brother said, no more talking. The brother said, we do too much talking and marching and walking around, and enough of that. And brother felt like he had to handle his business. So he got into what John Lewis would call good trouble. He got into good trouble. But I digress. Anyway, let's dive into what we need to talk about on tonight's broadcast. We're talking about the Rainbow Railroad. We're talking about this nonstop attack from the white LGBT community against Black American society. There's an onslaught, and there has been a long-term attack on us. And anytime they try to promote some type of so-called dialogue about the LGBT issues, it's never a real dialogue. It's not about teaching. It's never about having a real dialogue or having people learn anything. The narrative is always accusatory and abusive towards Black American society. You notice whenever certain Black entertainers, and notice it's always these Black entertainers or some Negroes who work for white corporate organizations or news organizations, whenever they talk about the LGBT issues or their sexuality, it's always a ploy to get them to browbeat Black American society for being quote unquote homophobic. Now, in just the last few days alone, a lot of music entertainers, they've been coming out saying little slick stuff, not even just music entertainers, even actors like, Malik Yoba. He came on out the closet, came out, with his love of trans people. Like I said, we've been on the streets of LA. We've been knowing that for years, so nobody's really surprised about that. I've heard all types of stuff about this dude going back 20 years, so I wasn't shocked. But when he was coming out, he had to drag Black men and the Black community. You dig? So he can get brownie points from white mommy and white zaddy. This Ari Lennox chick, she came out talking about F everybody who's homophobic. I hate y'all if you homophobic, and just some random unsolicited rant about how she hates people who are homophobic, and if you're homophobic, you can unfollow her. It's like, who in the hell are you talking to? You just mad with a lot of energy, and she's directing this towards Black society because white people ain't really following her. So this is them trying to get brownie points from the white corporate paymasters. This is them auditioning. They know this is what will get you a couple of extra butter biscuits from white mommy, white zaddy. And by the way, that Ari Lennox chick, and don't miss this, a lot of these people, they identify with different cultures. I've looked up stuff on her. For some reason, I don't know if she's an immigrant, if she's a first or second gen immigrant or whatever, but she kept referring to herself as Nigerian. I don't know if she's a stud. I don't know. But a lot of these entertainers, they keep coming out talking about their sexuality, and it always, no matter what you say around straight Black people, no matter what they say, it always turns into, we're going to attack straight Black people because we're going to pretend they said something that was offensive. And this happened with some kind of conversation, I think it's on HBO, with Lil Nas X. It was Lil Nas X and Kevin Hart, and they started going in on Kevin Hart, talking about he's gaslighting Lil Nas X. It was a real stretch of an outrage. It was like you had to really twist and turn to be outraged by this. It's called The Shop. Now I want y'all to listen to this, and this was trending, and Kevin was just in a damn accident. This man is in therapy and recovery right now, so they were trying to go in on him, talking about he's gaslighting. So listen to this. This is the conversation on this show called The Shop on HBO.
And with all that early success, you felt it was important to make an announcement recently.
He said he was gay, so what?
Yeah, what's the point? So why did he feel that was necessary? It's not about who cares. That's actually my question. Why do you feel it was necessary to come out and say that?
It's not that it's being forced. It's just knowing growing up, I'm grown up to hate this shit. I'm not supposed to
Grown up to
ever
hate
like
what?
this.
Hate what?
Hate what?
Homosexuality, gay people. Come on now.
Why are you gonna get
If you're really from the hood, you know.
Whoa. So Kevin was like, yeah, I mean, you gay, so what? Oh, you gaslighting him, Kevin. So a lot of these corporate Negroes who work for these media outlets, they were having some fake outrage trying to get butter biscuits by attacking Kevin because of that. He said, yeah, you gay, so what? I mean, and really, so what? I mean, who cares? We like your song, but we don't give a shit about your, nigga, you a corny one-hit wonder novelty rapper. Nobody gives a shit about whatever your sexual preference, and I get that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's not homophobic. Nobody gives a shit. He has a hot one-hit wonder record out right now. Nobody else gives a shit about none of that other stuff, all right? Be great. So that's what Kevin was saying. Oh, my God, why would you gaslight him? Like, stop it. Y'all niggas are all all y'all Negroes are shame on you. And he's an industry plant. He even tried to sarcastically acknowledge that he's an industry plant. That's somebody that they put out there. They planned on having him come out, the whole shebang. But did you catch what he said about, yeah, if you from the hood, you know? Did y'all catch that part right there? Hold on.
My question, why do you feel it was necessary to come out and say that?
It's not that, like, it's, like, being forced. It's just, like, knowing, like, growing up, like, I'm growing up to hate this shit. I'm not supposed to ever like this.
Hate what?
Homosexuality, gay people. Come on now.
Why are you gonna get
If you're really from the hood, you know.
What the fuck is he talking about? What is Lil Nas X talking about? If you from the hood, first of all, if you from the hood, I grew up hating this shit. And he's making it and implying that he grew up in the black neighborhood, so people hated on him from being gay. Ain't this nigga from Atlanta? Ain't Lil Nas X from Atlanta, guys? Help me, because I don't really follow this nigga. Ain't he from Atlanta? Help me in the chat room, please. Where is this nigga from? Where in Atlanta they hating you for being gay, nigga? That's the black gay capital of the fucking world. What are you talking about? Nigga, it's bussy pouring all over the streets in Atlanta. What are you talking about, nigga? Who hated on you? What are you talking about? Atlanta's the most gay-friendly city for a black person. What are you talking about, fool? He's full of shit. See, that's an agenda right there. That is an agenda right there. Those are white supremacist talking points that they told you to push. This black folks are homophobic. Ooh, I grew up hating this shit. What, not no damn Atlanta. Atlanta is really bussy friendly, nigga. You didn't hate that in no damn Atlanta. Who was hating on you? You see these lies that they put out? They put these Negroes out here to promote these damn lies. You need to stop. Hold on.
It's not some. So it's like, if for me, the cool dude with the song on top of everything to say this, any other time, like, I'm doing this for attention in my eyes. But if you're doing this, like, while you're at the top, you know it's, like, for real. And it's, like, showing, like, it doesn't really, like, matter, I guess.
Exactly, it doesn't.
There it is.
What is this nigga talking about? Okay, he's babbling at this point. But just the whole fact that he told that boldface that lie, he grew up hating it. Well, you must have hated yourself. And that had nothing to do with everybody in the hood, quote unquote. See, that's the lie that they keep on promoting, that the black community is homophobic. And let me tell y'all something. Whenever y'all hear that, y'all start checking people on that racist ass bullshit talking point. That's a very racist, anti-black talking point. And you need to start checking people on that when they tell that bold-faced lie. Number, we're not homophobic. The black community is not homophobic whatsoever. We're not doing anything. We're not harming anybody gay. We're not doing anything to them negative because we really don't have the power to do anything. We don't have the power to discriminate against no damn body. So the most you can do is point out where somebody called you a name. Nobody's really attacking you from black society like that unless you're in the sex industry, and most of the people attacking you are going to be your white customers like Ed Buck. like Jeffrey Dahmer. You understand? But the black community is not homophobic. Where's your proof that black society is homophobic? You're painting the picture like all black people just sit around hating on people because of their sexuality. That is a damn lie. Where's your proof to show this? Well, I got called names when I was a child. They called me sissy. They called me all types of names. Okay, because they called you names where you grew up, because I didn't hear all that where I grew up, and I grew up and we had gay kids at school. We didn't trip on them. So because somebody called you names at your school, that's indicative of all black people. That's white supremacist talking points right there. That's why the white supremacists give you those talking points to use. See, when white people do stuff or when other people do stuff, they're lone wolves. If one black person calls you a name when you were 7, all of a sudden the whole black community is homophobic, therefore they all should be somehow punished. We got to check them on these lies. Everything is very abusive whenever the conversation comes up. When they bring the conversation to black society, everything is about abuse and domination, especially when you start asking about the curriculum they're going to have in these LGBT studies at schools, when they're going to make these LGBT history classes mandatory at certain schools in certain districts. Whenever I ask people what the curriculum is going to be, it always degenerates into trolling. Nobody can give a real legitimate answer. Everything becomes aggressive, or everything becomes very accusatory. Well, damn, you homophobic for asking that. Whoa. Asking about a curriculum that's going to be in school, that's homophobic? Now, is that the attitude you're going to have towards those children when they ask a question about what you're trying to teach them? See, that's my thing, because the minute you ask simple questions about what exactly are they going to teach, how are you going to explain certain sexual definitions to these children that's not in a way that will be somewhat exploitive, the energy becomes very aggressive and accusatory. Well, don't you worry about that. I'm like, oh, are you going to talk like that to the children? Because this ain't about teaching, this is about dominating. And that's exactly what's going to happen when children, especially black children, who are going to be completely confused, all children are going to be confused by this. And when they try to not be confused by asking questions, they're going to be on some just shut up and stop being homophobic, little boy. And that's the energy they're going to put on these kids. That's the energy they're going to put on these kids. See, they're trying to get our kids young. And there was one LGBT chick who tried to comment in a serious manner, and that was very disturbing. She was like, well, what we're going to do, we don't have to teach them about sexuality per se. We'll just teach about certain historically gay things like the Stonewall Rebellion. The Stonewall Rebellion up in New York. We'll teach them about gay things like that. And I had to remind her, sister, the Stonewall Rebellion, that wasn't about the sexuality of the people. That was a racial incident that the white LGBT community finessed and tried to whitewash the history of. So now you guys are going to start lying to these kids. So now what they're going to do, they're going to start whitewashing history, guys. When they try to teach LGBT studies, they're going to start whitewashing history. And the woman said another thing. She said, we're also going to teach the children about Malcolm X, and he was bisexual. I said, wait a damn minute. And that's exactly what they're going to teach, by the way. Now, as we know, that book that came out talking about Malcolm was bisexual. That book has been dissected and debunked over and over again. Y'all remember, what's his name? Manning Marable. This dude came out with this book with all types of false information on Malcolm, and that guy ended up dying, the Manning guy. Oh yeah, there was a book. There was a few books debunking that book that talked about Malcolm was bisexual and all this old stuff. You dig? Yo, they stay lying on us. They stay lying on us. So they're going to try to whitewash the history or half-truth the history. And you got to watch these people. Watch the Ari Lennoxes and the Van Jones. Watch him. Van Jones thinks he's real slick because he has all these nonprofits. He gets all this money from the NFL, by the way. And some of the board of directors on his nonprofits are people who promote these LGBT agendas. So that's where he's getting a lot of his little money from. So they get these nonprofits. They funnel these monies from these lobby groups, these LGBT lobby groups, for the whole purpose of them going around using black suffering to funnel and to finesse resources to other groups. And they get their little liaison Negroes like Van Jones and others, and the DeRay McKessons and all these people. But Van Jones in particular, because he gets big money from what I've seen. He'll go out there talking about, oh my God, it's so horrible that black people are getting shot out here and harmed by the police. And, you know, so many other people are suffering like the LGBT. That's why you guys need to donate to my organization. It's that con game. It's that con game. And then you had, I want y'all to notice something. A lot of these folks who push this agenda against black society about us being homophobic and we better get down with the LGBT program or else, or we're going to be somehow punished or deprived of resources. It's a lot of these foreign flags doing that. I want y'all to not miss that. I want y'all to not miss that. It's a lot of foreign flags engaging in that. You had singer, rapper. What is Jadena? Is he a rapper or a singer? I don't know what to call this nigga. But he's a Nigerian rapper / singer. I think I can call him a singer. So he did an interview. And again, he signed to a major label. Notice all these people signed to major labels, these major corporations who are clicked in with politicians. He's out here pushing the LGBT agenda, talking about it from a historic standpoint and how black people and African people should embrace it. I want y'all to listen to this. He was on Sway, and listen to some of the half-truths that Jadena was spewing. Now listen to this. Hold on.
All right. The whole idea that that black people are like our tradition to be black, or to even for Africans, because you hear these African leaders who are dressed in 3-piece suits, got an iPhone, speaking in English and not their native tongue, are saying that it's un-African to be homosexual. It's un-African. We don't have it. That was brought as a European import. Is not true. It's not true at all. In Uganda, the kingdom of Buganda at the time, before Uganda, there was a openly gay king in South of.
Oh, let's stop right there. Hold on now. See, that's why you better know your history. Let's stop right there. Okay, let's stop there. Now he's talking about the kingdom of Buganda and the openly gay king. He's talking about King Mwenga. He's talking about King Mwenga II of Buganda. Let's be clear. You watch the Jedi mind tricks that they try to slip in with the words, the timeline. Now, King Mwenga ruled that kingdom, and he was openly gay. It's time for some receipts. But this was in the late 1800s. This man got to the throne around 1884. This is right around the time the scramble for Africa was happening. So colonization was in full swing at this point, okay? I'm going to spell his name. Mwanga. King Mwenga II. So there was colonization. The Europeans in the late 1800s were all over Africa. The slave trade in full swing. Oh, let's break it down. Now, and King Mwenga's dad, he dealt with a lot of the European powers and the Muslim powers, so there was a lot of outside influence all over Africa, okay? It's M as in Mike. We're going to teach this thing. So at that point in the late 1800s, man, of course there's all types of European influence all over Africa. And let me tell you something about Mwenga. The thing is, Jidenna is trying to make it seem like there was homosexual acts and he was an open homosexual and it was accepted. It wasn't accepted. They didn't accept that from him. That he was an anomaly. And the people of the kingdom, they rejected him because it was hard for him to find people to be gay with unless he was raping people, which he was. That was one dude, and the people were not trying to get down with that program, and he ended up killing a lot of dudes who didn't want to give him no bussy. So tell all the story. Don't look up the Ugandan martyrs. Y'all Google that. The Ugandan martyrs. These were the people who would not give that nigga no damn bussy. They would rather die than let that dude violate him. They didn't want that dude. I mean, he killed dozens of people who didn't want to be violated by him. So it wasn't accepted by the kingdom. And right after that dude was the ruler, that's when everything deteriorated. That's when full colonization came into swing because the community this shit is going downhill now with this dude out here sexually exploiting people. This dude out here raping folks. This dude's out here doing all of these unusual sexual practices. And then the kingdom went straight to hell. Right after he was on the throne, the scramble of Africa came through and they started to colonize that whole thing. Tell all the damn truth. Tell all of it. Look up the Ugandan martyrs. These were the people who would rather die than let that dude run up in their damn bussy. No, don't tell no half history. You dig? Hold on.
You go to the original cave paintings in South Africa, Zimbabwe, actually, the Bushmen, the Bushmen as they call them, the cave paintings. You'll see homosexual acts in the cave. And
I've been down to Zimbabwe. I've seen some of these paintings. These dudes everybody walked around naked. These people would play. They would wrestle. They would fight. They would practice martial arts. So those paintings, you don't know what they're doing. It's stick painting, so you don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're fighting, dancing. You don't know what kind of ritual they're doing, but in their mind, if you got bussy on the brain, you automatically think they fucking.
Paintings.
Oh, wow.
If you go to different communities in West Africa, there was different rites of passage where if a woman was with a woman or a man was with a man, that they were thought to be more powerful.
Where? Cite a source. Where's that? I would like to know where that is. I want to know where that is. Where is he talking? He didn't cite no source, and I ain't never heard that in no West Africa. Where was that? That didn't have a European influence or even an outside influence, because even before the European influence, because they'll try to play word tricks. Understand, a lot of Eurasians and the Hyksos and a lot of other groups came into Africa exploiting certain groups. So they brought in certain lifestyles. They were turning some of the native Africans into eunuchs. So you better cite some sources and throw some dates out there. See, he tried to play a little Jedi mind trick. Well, before European, and then he started naming some shit that happened in the late 1800s. See, this is why you better know some damn history. I'm going to make it make sense. See, this is why you better know some damn history out here. So when they start teaching this bullshit to your kids, you know how to counter it with facts. You dig? So this thing is real. These people are really, really trying to push this agenda out here. These people are really, really trying to push this agenda out here. Heavy. But again, I want y'all to notice how a lot of shea butter Twitter, black LGB Twitter, a lot of these Negroes on social media, the bedwenches and mammies and the bed bucks. And I pointed this out several times. Most of these people, these black folks that you see, working at these white corporations, pushing and browbeating black people about being homophobic and attacking black Americans. Notice damn near 90% of them got the foreign flags flying. These are people who are first and second gen immigrants from other places. Some of them are direct immigrants from other places. Damn near all of them. Now, why is that? I want y'all to notice that. Anytime you see somebody talking about how homophobic black Americans are, there's always some African or Caribbean flag flying. And we're going to show you the source of that. That's where we come to the Rainbow Railroad. Now, the Rainbow Railroad, that's a real organization. This is a white LGBT organization, and they've been around for a decade or so, a little over a decade, I think since 2006. It's a white-run nonprofit. They got one headquarters in Canada, another one in New York. And let me play a little information about the Rainbow Railroad, just a little clip to give you an idea of what they're about.
In more than 70 countries worldwide, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, or LGBT citizens, live in fear for their freedom, their safety, and in some cases, their lives. Their governments not only sanction brutality against them, but often carry it out. There is no obvious or easy escape path, but for those lucky enough to hitch a ride, there is something called the Rainbow Railroad.
Okay, so the Rainbow Railroad is the white LGBT's answer to the Underground Railroad. Okay, that's some shit they stole from Harriet Tubman and us foundational black Americans. They're always piggybacking off what we've done historically. That's where they got the name. They got it from our Underground Railroad, so they got the Rainbow Railroad. You see, they love doing that. Anything we do, they got to have their equivalent of it and use that to undermine our history or whatever we've done. So they've always stole from us. So that's what it is. And what they do, they go around to different countries and bring over gay immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean, and they help them immigrate here under the guise of them trying to rescue them. They're rescuing them from their African and Caribbean homeland. So basically what they're doing, they are deliberately looking for gay and lesbian people from African and Caribbean countries to help them immigrate here. And these are the people that you see working at BuzzFeed. These are the people you see working at Huffington Post. They get these people and then make them the heads of nonprofit organizations here in America, and they become the spokespersons for black Americans. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the receipts. This is where it all comes from. This is one of the main organizations that does this. This is why whenever these black so-called grassroots folks start talking about black issues and problems happening to black people, they immediately start talking about two other things: immigration and LGBT, the two things that interest them and benefit them. These are the people that pay the politicians to lobby for LGBT and immigrant rights. And then they try to shame us into going along with this stuff so that we can further have them bring folks over to undermine us. This is where all the folks from the root, these are the people who fund them. Do you understand? So they go to these places where their society looks down on certain behavior. So they get these folks and bring them over here to us and tell them all you got to do is undermine those Negroes. And they have no problem doing it whatsoever because they don't think they're one of us. They have triple allegiances. They have an allegiance here, which is very weak. It's only for economic gain. They got an allegiance to their home country, and they have an allegiance to the white LGBT community because their proximity to them makes them feel a little less black. You understand? And when you see organizations like the Rainbow Railroad, just like Me Too, they always have a black front person. If you look up the basic information about the railroad, the Rainbow Railroad, they talk about this one guy, Kamali, I forgot his name. He's a Jamaican immigrant. I think he lives up there in Canada. They parade him around as the executive director of the Rainbow Railroad so they can make it look like it's being it's a black thing, the token Negro. But then when you dig into it and look at the whole staff, this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the screen now, this is the staff of the Rainbow Railroad. It's run by a bunch of damn white people with 2 token Negroes. The front Negro is one of the only Negroes there. And they got some chick, she might be a Latina, she's an Afro-Latina in the middle, but 2 Negro males. And the rest of the white people. That right there is who runs this. This is who's running the Rainbow Railroad. They go rescue gay black people from these foreign countries and bring them over here so they can wreak havoc and undermine us. So what they do, this is a new version of the Sally Struthers hustle. Instead of the hungry, starving child, and we need money to go rescue this starving child over in Africa. He hasn't eaten in 8 months. Send us money so we can go rescue little Damiano. He's hungry. So this is the new Sally Struthers. This little boy hasn't had bussy in 3 weeks. His country doesn't allow him to be who he is. Send us money so we can bring him to a bussy-friendly country. So that's the little hustle and scam they got. And it works for them. It works for them. They bring these folks over to undermine us and wreak havoc. Now I'm looking at my stream. They're messing with my stream over here. My stream is being messed with, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, y'all, bear with me. Because now I'm going a little heavy. The minute I start going heavy, the stream starts getting a little funny style. There we go. I think I'm back. I was getting a little too heavy. All right, y'all better refresh the page, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get my talking points in before they get me up out of here. I was getting too heavy, and y'all should have saw what was happening over here. They were cutting my stream on and off, on and off, on and off. All right, but I'm back. I'm here. I'm back and I'm here. Let me scale it back a little bit. I was going too hard. The censors heard me. But again, like I said, folks, we got to be very careful about people who work with the white supremacists to come over here to undermine foundational black Americans. We got to be very careful. We got to keep our eyes out. We got to be on the lookout. You know, I did an interview today. I think it was with one of the major newspapers. I think it was the New York Times. I do so many interviews, but it was one of the major publications called me today talking about American descendants of slaves and reparations and asking me questions about that and what my feelings were and how did all this start and what is American descendants of slaves. And I had to break that down and explain to her what it is and what it means. And the female reporter kept asking me things. Well, you know, if you guys are going to look out for your, because I kept telling her, it's basically we're looking out at Black Americans, foundational Black Americans who are descendants of slaves. We're looking out for ourselves as a distinctive, our own ethnic group, because other people look out for themselves as their own distinctive ethnic group. And she was like, well, aren't we just one big melting pot? You know, isn't diversity our greatest strength and all, you know, that whole game. I'm like, hell no. No. And black folks, whenever you hear diversity, run. Whenever you hear diversity, run. Diversity means 2 Negroes, some women, some gay people, and an Asian. It doesn't help black people. Whenever you hear the word diversity, just run for the hills. It's never a good thing. Diversity doesn't work. We need to learn how to exclude folks and to circle our wagons and aggregate power and resources for our group. And I keep driving this message home because it's so very important for us to really get on code about. Because the Pan-Africanism doesn't work, and we got to be very honest about that. And what's interesting, I get a lot of foreign people and a lot of the immigrants, they try to use hidden colors as an excuse to exploit. When I talk about Black Americans looking out for themselves, they start talking about, well, you had made hidden colors. Hidden colors is all about all of us. Now, how you going? That's hypocritical. You made hidden colors, and now you're talking about your own group? Yeah. Hidden colors is not an excuse for people to come over and exploit Black Americans anymore. See, we got to get this whole game right. You're not going to exploit Black Americans no more. This whole thing where people want to exploit and they want to disrespect, see, we're gonna nip all that in the bud. Yeah, we're nipping all that stuff right on in the bud. We can't have that. That's been a problem for too long. That whole melting pot thing doesn't work. And I was explaining that to the reporter. The melting pot thing, basically, everybody dumps their negativity onto us and then exclude us from all the positives and all the resources. So we don't get anything beneficial from the so-called melting pot, but we get all the trash. You dig? It's like everybody comes and cooks in the kitchen and they get all the food and all we get are the melted pots. That's all we get. We got to go clean the damn dishes after everybody's eaten. And then people get real bold with it. And this is why, you know, we got to start charging folks to the game and just letting them hold their own nuts. For example, we see what's going on over there in South Africa now. Other African groups are going over there. They're beating the hell out of each other. And I'm like, well, damn. I mean, they're beating the brakes off each other in the streets over there in large numbers. I'm like, well, damn, y'all got these white supremacists over here doing God knows what, and ain't nobody doing nothing to them. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what's up? And y'all the majority over there? You're like 80% of the population over there, and the white supremacists can smack you around, and you don't do nothing to them, but some other black folks come over, and y'all fighting like cats and dogs. And that don't look right. And we don't need that over here. We don't need that mentality over here. See, when people come over here, they bring that mentality. We're just another tribe to beat on and beat up. No, keep that on over there. And more power to you. I hope y'all work it out, but stay there with that. Stay over there with that. And I said that on Twitter the other day, and somebody, I guess they were from over there, what about Bloods and Crips? Bloods and Crips don't be getting down like that. Number one, You don't have videos of Bloods and Crips just doing all that, beating the hell out of each other in the streets. If you see a bunch of Bloods and Crips in the streets together, they're fighting police and white people. If you see that many Bloods and Crips out, they're not going to be fighting each other. Let's be very clear. If large numbers of black folks get together like that, we ain't fighting each other. We turning up in a whole different way. You dig? So now, they're attacking us with the LGBT thing. They're really attacking us with that. If we don't go along with that, we're going to somehow punish you. And they're doing the same thing with immigration. And I saw a clip from Joy Reid's show, and they had this immigrant woman on there talking about all the great things that immigrants are doing and have done, and the things they are and the things they are not. And this is very interesting. This lady, what is her name? Miss Tara Dowdell. Miss Tara Dowdell. I think that's her name. I don't know where is she from. I don't know where she's from. But she was on Joy Reid. I don't know where this woman is from, but I'm looking at her page now, and she's promoting LGBT stuff, and oh Lord, I'm looking at this Tara lady's page. There's all types of LGBT stuff on there. So, but listen, she was talking about immigrants. Now listen to what she's saying.
So my business, who I employ people of all races at my business, part of how I sustain my business is because of immigrants. Immigrants are more likely to start, Kaufman Foundation has the data on this, they're more likely to start businesses in this country, less likely to commit.
Whoa. Okay. So immigrants are more likely to start businesses. You know what she's doing? You know what this is? Basically, this is like a dog whistle to white society. This is a dog whistle. Like, look, white society, us black immigrants, we can replace these lazy akatas. We can replace them. Because, see, look how productive we are, white society. Look how productive we are. We start businesses. We don't be doing this. We don't be doing that. So we're the ideal Negroes for you. So she's sending out her little dog whistles. But that whole, you're more likely to start businesses, where you get the money from? Where do you get the resources from? A lot of you get the money and the resources from minority programs that foundational black Americans fought to help you get. You get programs and you get education from programs that foundational black Americans help you get. Let's be very clear. But yeah, she's auditioning. But listen to this woman here. Hold on.
More likely to start businesses in this country, less likely to commit crimes in this country, and have added to the value of this country. I am a personal beneficiary of the fact of the hardworking immigrants who come from other countries with nothing and have built amazing businesses and then retained my firm and have retained other firms in this country and have hired hundreds of people alone with nothing and second grade education levels coming in to the 7th grade. One of my clients graduated from Harvard magna cum laude, coming from Ethiopia, and now runs a nonprofit that helps other people become entrepreneurs. It's about the facts.
Okay. The crime thing. See, that was a little dog whistle. That was a little dog whistle. Yeah, us immigrants, we're less likely to commit crime. Oh, Lord, no. That ain't true. That ain't true at all. That ain't true. Especially when we're talking about the first and second gen, when they have these anchor babies over here. It's a wrap. But truth be told, when a lot of immigrants come over from everywhere, including Africa, including the Caribbean, including South America, Central America, there are crimes that gets absorbed into black society. They commit crime, but they don't look at it. It's not recorded as an immigrant crime. Especially if they're black, it's recorded as a black crime. and I've talked about this before, when you saw the uptick in gang activity in America, that was right directly after the immigration laws came through that allowed all of these other immigrant groups to come through after the 1960s. Immediately after those immigration laws that Black Americans helped to fight for, what did we see in major cities all over the country? In New York, rise in urban gangs. All over New York, urban gangs. That's what the movie The Warriors was about, by the way. In Los Angeles, when you have some of these foreign dudes coming over from other places, I've talked about this before, you had in the mid to late 70s and early 80s, that's when you saw the gunplay happening with the Crips and the Bloods, because you had these Belizean dudes come in and they weren't trying to fight the Tookie Williams and the Raymond Washingtons and these dudes. Those dudes, the Raymonds and the Tookies and the Melvin Farmers and those early gangsters in LA, these were fighters. They weren't really shooting people, especially out of no damn car. So you had these dudes coming in from other places who couldn't go toe to toe with one of them dudes. So like, I'm gonna shoot that nigga and drive off. You dig? And let's not even go to the damn drugs. Where the hell y'all think all these drugs come from? And who's funneling and muling these drugs in the country? Those are directly from damn immigrants. Black people are not going out of the country to get them damn bricks. So I'm like, when she told that lie, I'm like, whoa. And I'm not, this ain't to disparage all immigrants, by the way. This is not to disparage all immigrants. There's good immigrants. I'm not shitting on everybody. But when she said, we don't commit no crime, like, where the hell them bricks coming from? Yeah, these bricks are getting flued in. You dig? All through the Caribbean, all through South America. Where all them bricks were coming in from Miami? Who was bringing them damn bricks in? Come on. And then, there's all types of other little visa crimes and visa scams that people do. There was a big bust, a bunch of African immigrants the other day out here in Los Angeles. I think it was like 80 people, 80 immigrants. They had some kind of F1 visa fraud. There's all types of little, forget about the drug fraud, the gang crimes, the white collar crimes, the money laundering crimes, and then you got Asian immigrants who got Asian gangs. We won't even get started on the MS-13s and all the Hispanic gangs. I mean, come on. Come on. The immigrants don't commit crime? Really? Come on. How did she say that with a straight face? But she was dog whistling to white mommy and white daddy. That was the dog whistle she was doing. You dig? Yeah, the triads, all that stuff. So we got to watch folks like that. We got to watch them. And again, we're just prioritizing what we got to prioritize. Because we got to be on top of our game. We got to be on top of our game. And when people start trying to rewrite history, it's very important that we understand history, that we know how to counter lies when it comes to history. Because we're told, this is where our steam comes in. This is why you guys have to get the Hidden Colors films. You have to watch these films with your families. And then some people say, man, you need to do another Hidden Colors. So I'm going to do more films. And then you get some of the shea butter haters, because when you start talking about real history and empowering people, who's going to hate on that? People who benefit from you not being empowered. People who benefit from you just looking at ratchet, non-constructive garbage all the time. So history is very important, because we need to know who did what, when did it happen, how can we do it again, who did something against us, what patterns did they use, how can we counter those patterns. It's very important to learn that. You understand? And our history is all over the place. This is why our history is endless. There is no history without us, especially here in our ancestral homeland, with us as foundational Black Americans. See, we've been, for a long time, foundational Black Americans, we've been taught that we are some type of out group. We've been taught to be outsiders in our own homeland. This is our ancestral homeland. Foundational Black Americans, we've been here for centuries, longer than all the other groups, even the Europeans. We've been here longer. Now, some people, what about the Native Americans? Let's be real. The Native Americans, as Dr. Claude Anderson taught us, they didn't contribute to the development of the United States. Let's keep it a buck. Native Americans, meaning the red man, so-called red man, they never really contributed to the development of the United States. They did not. Many of them were on the land, and in the land it was a vast wilderness for the most part, but they didn't contribute to the development of the United States. That was us 100%. That was foundational Black Americans doing that. Let's be very clear on our history. And a lot of us, man, we think we were just running around shining shoes. And like I always talk about certain things that Black people who were enslaved, some of the great things that they were doing, and even after slavery, and this is just all over the country. It was one brother that I've been studying about, because I've been studying. I like learning the history where I am. I love learning about the history of Los Angeles. I've been out here all my adult life, and I've always wanted to do a piece, some type of film piece about the history of LA. Where are my LA people? Because if you look at your city and really dig into the culture of it, most likely you'll see the greatest influence of that city was some Black person, and the white person just kind of stole the shit. But if you look at your city, wherever you are in America, there's a Black person who was probably the real influential, defining citizen of that place. Like in LA, there's a brother named Paul Williams. He was an architect. A lot of the buildings and structures in LA was built by this dude, Paul Williams. Brother, Black man, Paul Williams. What's interesting about this brother, this dude built so many buildings in LA, and this was during Jim Crow. And he would build these beautiful, beautiful mansions and houses. And he built the LA court building downtown. He built the building down at LAX. He designed that and built that. I mean, this brother was building shit left and right. He also designed and built Nickerson Gardens and Imperial Courts. That's why it's a housing project, but it looks like regular apartments, because he wanted Black people to be comfortable. He didn't build the projects like those bricks that you see like in Chicago and you saw in New York, those bricks standing on top of each other. He tried to make it as comfortable as possible. You dig? But this brother would build mansions for like Frank Sinatra. This was the go-to architect in LA. They don't like talking about this dude. His name was Paul Williams, a Black architect, and this brother would build these buildings and structures. And the ironic thing is, after he would build these buildings, he couldn't even go to them. He wasn't even allowed to enter the buildings that he built. You understand? Paul Williams. And let me tell you something. This is really trippy about Paul Williams. There was, in 1933, some very secretive organization commissioned Paul Williams to build a mansion up around the canyons above Santa Monica, up in the hills. This very secret, covert group. They wanted him to build a 22-room mansion, and he put the blueprints together. He built the fence for this property, and the fence is still there now. Now, he didn't know who these people were. They were very secretive and covert about what they were doing, but he designed it, and they never built the mansion. But this organization in 1933, right smack dab in the middle of Los Angeles, the organization was called the Silver Legion of America. This was a Nazi group. In Los Angeles in 1933, a spy from Germany came over who was working directly with Hitler. The spy came over to America, to Los Angeles, convinced a wealthy white couple to finance his project. They built, in Los Angeles, family, they built a Nazi compound smack dab in the middle of Los Angeles. And the area is called Murphy Ranch. The ruins of this compound is still up there right now. They built a Nazi compound because they knew that Hitler was going to go to war, so they wanted to set up shop over here. They built water tanks. This is right up off Rustic Canyon in LA, all my LA people. If you go to Rustic Canyon in LA, just Google Nazi Ranch in Los Angeles. The shit is still there. The city of Los Angeles is very secretive about this because they're embarrassed by it. They're very embarrassed by this Nazi camp that's still up there. It's abandoned. Now it's graffiti all over the place. Google it. You've hiked up there before? Somebody said the hike. Yeah, it's real off in the cut. It's like you got to go through the mountains and then down a valley. It's way in the cut, but it's smack dab in the middle of LA. So they built a big ass water tank. What they were doing, they were living off the grid up there. It was a bunch of Nazis who were called the Silver Shirts after Hitler's brown shirts. They had Nazi uniforms on and they were up in the mountains practicing. They were up there practicing in the mountains in the 1930s. They had livestock. They were growing their own food. They had their own electricity. They were completely off the grid up there. And they ended up getting raided right after the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor. The day after Japan hit Pearl Harbor, that's when these Nazis in LA got raided, because remember, Japan was allied with the Nazis. You understand? So the history, we have to dig into that history and bring it out. The dominant white society, they try to hide stuff like this that's right there in your face. And they're very embarrassed by it, because now the question is, why in the hell were Nazis allowed to build a damn compound smack dab in the middle of America like that? Why were they allowed, and the key word is allowed, they were allowed to operate a damn Nazi camp in Los Angeles? You understand? I would like an answer for that from the city. What the hell? You dig? So that's some stuff you better start asking. And we can get even deeper. A few miles from that, that's where Charles Manson and his folks were all held up some years later. There was another place that they were cooped up in right before they start murdering folks on some racial shit. And you know, Charles Manson, he was a Nazi. He had a swastika on his head. People leave that out about Charles Manson. They leave the fact that this asshole was a damn Nazi. He was a white supremacist, and the people with him, some of them were in the Aryan Nation. They leave a lot of that shit out. But I digress. You dig? But they got their eyes on black identity extremists. You dig? But anyway, that's been today's episode of Tariq Radio. Hope we've learned some great lessons tonight, family. Don't forget to go to hiddencolorsfilm.com to get Hidden Colors 5. If you don't have it, get the hit film, Hidden Colors 5. If you don't have it, get it today. Share it with your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I will holler at you guys on the Sunday stream. Y'all have a good night.